Welcome to UWS Weekly, a show that is dedicated to covering United Women's Soccer, a national pro-am league with your host, Jonathan Ward. Each and every week, we will highlight players, supporters, and staff at the clubs we all pride ourselves to support in North America. The UWS is a league that is committed to advancing women's soccer. Good morning, soccer fans. It is early, not as early as the kickoff show, but it is early. It's 10 a.m. here on the West Coast, 1 p.m. out on the East Coast. And today I'm excited to have the opportunity to talk with Brooklyn City FC. But first and foremost, welcome to the UWS studio and to UWS Weekly, a show powered by Rain Total Body Fuel and dedicated to the best women's pro-am league in the world. I'm your host, Jonathan. And as normal, we have a great show planned for you guys today, so stay tuned as we go. But first, let's start off this afternoon, with the recent release of the UWS Power Rankings. This is the third Power Rankings that we have put out, and every week it's a new story. Started off with Lone Star Republic, Detroit City FC, and this week a new number one in the Chicago Mustangs. This team is for real, the Chicago Mustangs team. They're sending a message to everyone in the league. Coach Gino has his side playing like it's FIFA Street. For those of you who are old enough to know what FIFA Street was, they've scored a goal differential of plus 22. And Mallory Olson, their forward, who was interviewed by the girls, Katie and Megan from Our Cup of Tea, is averaging a goal a game right now during this run. Their signature win comes against the previous number one Detroit City FC, who they beat 3-1. And they have just a few remaining matches, and it's hard to find a side that can compete right now. Laura Shank has the back line looking strong, and it will take a special effort to stop this club from climbing or staying in the power rankings with 4 matches to play. The question is if they will score, but how many will they actually end up conceding? Because right now, like I said, they're on a roll. Number 2 is the Lone Star Republic. They have 20 goals for and 3 against. This team is on a record-setting pace in the league and the Southwest Conference. And with 6 matches to play, they could go undefeated. They have 2 matches that they need to play against Side FC in those last 6. So we'll see, because when the dust settles, that's the last matchup of the year for them to see who gets to go in that play-in tournament. July 20, probably the July 20th week or before that, before the national championship weekend, July 23rd through 25th. So look for LSR to stay strong this week with matchups against Alacranes, and the Central Texas Hornets, who they've already played and beaten once. Midwest United comes in number 3. Again, the most consistent team that we've seen in the league has been, they've been the best team out of the Midwest Conference in terms of form. They've been playing at a different level, and if it wasn't for a draw against Lansing United, they would be number 1 in the power rankings. They played Corktown last night, won 4-2. It was a critical matchup. One team needed to win. That team that won was Midwest, and that gave them those 3 points, left them some breathing room with 3 matches left to play. At number 4, we have FC Buffalo. They've been playing some great soccer. I know Danny from the kickoff show and Small World, as well as everybody. I think Megan's jumped on the bandwagon. Katie's jumped on the bandwagon. And even Steven, I think Steven jumped on the bandwagon as well for FC Buffalo to do big things. They're very even in terms of talent. They've stayed consistent this past weekend. They left 2 points on the pitch in their draw with Lancaster Inferno, who has been playing a lot better since the power rankings came out. I think they're trying to prove a point to get back up in the picture here as they sit mid-table. But Buffalo's been a fun team to watch. May hold this spot until they drop points, which may not happen. We'll see. I think our guests tonight are hoping for the same, or today, I should say, this morning. And then last but not least, SC Santa Clarita Blue Heat. They've only played matches against local rival International and Utah-based Congo. They await to see what the Canadian clubs bring to the West Conference. In the meantime, they've played smart, exciting, while it seems like they're not trying to show too much as they await for their first matchups against Foothills and the Impact in Canada, which will take place July 9th and July 10th. So keep those going. So today, we are proud to have the opportunity to talk with members of the Brooklyn City FC. So today I am joined by Megan Brock and Kayla Mushornt, along with founder and president Jesse DeLorenzo from Brooklyn City to talk about the season. Hey guys, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Jesse, how are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for taking the time to join us. I hope everything's going good in the New York area for you guys. I know baseball isn't doing too well. The Yankees are on the bottom of the barrel. Go Red Sox. And the Mets aren't looking too good either, even though they've spent all this money on Lindor. What's going on with them?
I don't know. I don't tell the rest of New York. I'm not a baseball fan, but the Mets, they're not doing too terribly, are they? I don't know. The Nets. Then we can talk about the Nets. The Nets are doing great.
The Nets are unstoppable. Kevin Durant playing some good hoops right now. But hey, listen, Megan, Kayla, Jesse, let's start off. Megan, we'll start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in the game that we all love.
Sure. So I started playing youth soccer, I think when I was 5 in Southern California. I think my parents just dropped me in a class or in a team, and the rest was history. So I grew up playing club there, ultimately on San Diego Surf, and then found my way to Swarthmore College in Pennsylvania. I played for 4 years there, and then graduated and tried to figure out what I wanted to do with soccer and with my life, and have played on some women's teams and on some co-ed teams, and now I'm Brooklyn City FC, and it's been a journey, but a good one, a blast.
Kayla, tell us a little about yourself and how you've grown in the game and now with Brooklyn City.
I'm very similar with Megan. I started my journey really young, around the age of 3 or 4, starting off with youth club teams, and I ended up making my way to Sousa Academy here on Long Island. I graduated with them, and then I continued my collegiate journey at Adelphi University, and I'm still there. I'm going into my sophomore year. And then I eventually hoping to prep for that and continue that journey with Brooklyn City FC.
Awesome. Jesse, what about you? How did you get started in the soccer game, man?
Yeah, so, I mean, I played, coming up, I grew up in Florida, played up through club and high school there, then kind of got away from the game for a while and ended up getting back involved, kind of the cliche, as a parent, and getting involved. I have 3 daughters. They started playing. And, long story short, I kind of recognized through their experience, the kind of lack of a clear path within Brooklyn, especially, and even New York City. So that really became the inspiration to start the club. So yeah, I'm not so much from the highest level playing background, but more from just kind of setting up the club and infrastructure for other people to take advantage of.
So Megan and Kayla, tell me a little bit about that infrastructure. You guys are actually playing in the infrastructure that Jesse has set up. How do you how does what he's talking about, how does that kind of envision or work with what you have and what you're looking to do in the sport?
I'll go first. I'm post collegiate. I was so excited to see Brooklyn City FC was starting a women's team in New York, mostly because I think for a lot of people in my position, it's not always clear how to continue your soccer journey. And in the past year, I've started coaching again. And so sort of from the youth angle up through where I'm at, I think that pathway is really important for a lot of the girls in the city, just not knowing what a soccer journey can look like, and Brooklyn City FC is really providing that. And so, yeah, it's important to me from both angles, and just building a competitive women's team in New York is very exciting to be a part of.
Kayla, kind of a different question for you in that you're still playing collegiate soccer. How does this club help you stay sharp or help you continue to be successful in your collegiate career?
Well, especially with COVID having its struggles in the past year, I know I didn't have a season for college. So especially this summer, being able to play every weekend with a multiple multiple different girls from different ages, different experience, different backgrounds. It just is I'm hoping it, advances my game on and off the field, because I get to learn from them, especially being one of the younger players on the team. I get to learn from players like Megan and a few other players. So I'm excited for it, and hopefully it pays off this fall.
So overall, Jesse, you've created this opportunity for women in Brooklyn to have a place to play, an opportunity to establish or to reestablish or grow with the game. What is the overall mission of the club? And Megan and Kayla, maybe you can tell us a little bit about what you see with that mission as a player for the club.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the mission of the club is really twofold. One is to build kind of a cohesive and very inclusive soccer community here in Brooklyn. Brooklyn soccer is very fragmented, I think you could say. There's a lot of different pockets kind of within the borough, but there's very few organizations that are kind of pulling everything together. So I think that's one side of it. And then the other side of it is we do have the ambition to compete at the highest level on the national stage representing Brooklyn. So, and that's really, providing a team and something for the rest of the borough, that soccer community that I mentioned in the first part of our mission, for everybody to rally around. So, I mean, you mentioned, the Brooklyn Nets, when we're talking about other sports. I mean, there should be a Brooklyn, soccer organization on that level, right? There's so many people here, such a strong community with soccer and football. So that's really the mission, is really to kind of connect those two things at once.
Megan and Kayla, how would you say that kind of works with what you're seeing and how the game is unfolded this year for you guys?
Piggybacking off of what Jesse said, it's just the community. I know with COVID, it has its struggles with having people at our games, but being able to look over to the sideline and seeing those youth players looking up at us as role models is definitely humbling and something that I look forward to. And I remember when I was younger, I looked forward to those U.S. Women's National Team games, looking at them, and now being able to have a platform where younger players are able to watch us and see the opportunities that soccer prevails for them in the future, whether it leads to college or not, or just playing on a Brooklyn City FC team. I think that's like the best opportunity for these younger players.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree. I think, it's our first season in the UWS, and I credit to the club for building community in a time where we haven't really been able to all interact in the ways that I think we'd like. And I think, being a part of this like first team and trying to continue building that going forward, I think is just such an opportunity and such an exciting thing for the youth players, like Kayla said. And then obviously competing, we want to compete. I won't let that part of the mission go by either. If you would see it in our practices and at games, we're fiercely competitive with each other and on the field as well. So trying to carry that through.
How crazy is it in the community itself, in that you're on the pitch and you hear people screaming your name that aren't your parents, and there's young girls who are out watching these matches who are cheering you on? Does that give you like a different vibe, like goosebumps, knowing that, hey, they know my name? Kind of crazy to think about that.
Definitely. I mean, when you're playing, especially when I was younger, I never thought that I would be in that position. You always look at other people and you were cheering for them. So being on the opposite end of it is definitely a humbling experience, and definitely different, but I love it. And I love seeing the smiles on the kids' faces, and hopefully they end up in succeeding in whatever they pursue in the future. So that's really exciting to see.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I definitely, I think I'm still shocked. Like last night we had before practice, like a club-wide gathering, and the players were like so excited to see the women's player, or the youth players are so excited to see us. And I didn't even know how to respond. I was like, I just want you guys to have the journey you want, so it's such a privilege. It's really, the community that Jesse and the whole staff and everyone's building in Brooklyn City is really something special.
So Megan, you had one of those moments of I'm not crying, you're crying.
I just was like, I don't know what to say to you. Like, I think I had my mask on, and so like, you know, you like, I'm like, I don't know how to express. I'm just, yeah, it was sort of surreal when the kids get so excited. I'm still not sure how to respond.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the mission that you know, Jesse had
Exactly.
in developing this program. But Jesse, I got to ask, what drew the organization to UWS? There's lots of opportunities out there. Obviously, we see it every day in Twitter. There's a new league that is trying to pop up. What drew your organization to the UWS?
Yeah, I think so. The funny thing is when even before we started the club, we had when we started the club, we had this idea to start and create a first team, which is usually something that's added later on. Okay.
We're cutting in now, but we're doing the best we can. We got it.
Usually something that's added later on down, and so okay. So yeah, I think that with the UWS, it was really about the standards. And when before I started the club, we visited some of the games and matches from other leagues, and there's a clear difference to me in terms of the standards, as far as, you know, just the level of play, the production of games, and so then in speaking to Joe and some of the other leadership in the league, it just seemed like the place for me, as far as, you know, we wanted to have a real emphasis on quality. We're not putting the team together and playing just for the sake of playing. So that was the type of environment that we want to be in.
Nice. So I have to ask, you know, the year, obviously, Megan and Kayla, the year has not started off the way I think you guys envisioned. 1, 2, and 2 in your first 5 matches here. What is the goal going forward? Obviously, it's to win matches, but now is there another goal sitting mid-table in the Eastern Conference? Is there a goal that you guys have in mind as leaders of this club to get going in the right way?
I mean, I think that the table, it might be deceiving for how we feel. I think a lot of games haven't gone. We feel like could have gone a different way. We've conceded late a few times. We've sort of, you know, felt like we could have come back from being down in some of the games. So I think our goal is to turn that around going forward, to get a little bit sharper, to continue learning how to play well with each other, so that we can get the results that we want. But Kayla, anything to add?
Well, just going off of what you said, it's an learning experience. So I know we're the first team. We, you know, new players it's always like that first couple of games getting to know each other. But now that we're trying to create a foundation and we have our basis set, hopefully we could build off of that. And these next couple of games are, again, more fluent, and we could come out on top maybe sooner rather than later in the game. And hopefully we, I guess those first 10 minutes of the game are very crucial. So hopefully we come out on top on those 10 minutes and really value those minutes coming up in these next couple of games.
Jesse, as the president, what was kind of the idea? What were you expecting from the club year one? Jesse, can you hear me? Hear him. Jesse, are you there? All right, we'll come back to Jesse here once we can get the audio back and working. So, Kayla, Megan, what makes soccer in New York different from other places? Megan, obviously, you growing up here in California, and Kayla, if I'm not mistaken, it's Long Island. How is soccer different in New York than it is when you were growing up?
I have to say, just like the community here at Brooklyn, it's the community where you are. It's the people that you surround yourself with. It's the culture of your team. I know I wouldn't be where I am today without the people that I've met throughout the process, whether it's coaches, teammates. So I definitely have to say it's just the culture and the atmosphere where you're playing. The people definitely make the sport worthwhile while playing. And that's why I'm here. I mean, I've enjoyed every single moment on the field, and that's because of my family and friends that I surround myself with and that support me throughout this process. So I'm very excited for that. And I'm sure it's very similar to Megan. So Megan.
I would say like logistical challenges aside, because the logistics in New York can be difficult. I would just say the people as well. I've played with people in New York that like where we don't speak the same language, where people are from all over. That's something that has been really special about playing here and something I hadn't experienced elsewhere. To the same degree. So, the diversity of people, and I think it goes back to what Jesse was saying about creating an inclusive soccer community, where people from all over the world can feel comfortable and excited playing. And I would say that's the biggest thing, aside from, finding fields and whatnot, which is a different challenge for Jesse and everyone.
Yeah, and obviously when things are able to come back to the fold and we're at capacity or able to get close to it, it's going to make a difference. We're waiting for Jesse. He's having some technical difficulties. It's part of the trade here in UWS with internet's work. So we'll get him back on as soon as we have that opportunity. He'll give us a thumbs up. We'll bring him back up. But I have to ask Megan and Kayla, how do you expect to continue to grow as a team this summer? You got 4 games left. What is the overall goal for you guys to make sure everybody walks away with an experience that they come back, right? Or that they want to continue to grow as a club?
Well, I have to say a big part of it, not only is the games, but our training environment. We train very intensely and we put each other and hold each other to a standard at every training session. So even though we do have 4 games and that might seem like a short amount of time, I know we put the work in during our training sessions, and I feel like we do get a lot of work done, and I'm really excited to see what these next 4 games have in store for us, because we definitely are working, and I'm excited to see hopefully a successful end to the season.
Yeah, I would just say it's funny. So we only have 4 games left. I'm like, yeah, but we have a lot of practices left. Like I leave practices when our team doesn't do well, I leave feeling the same way after games. I'm like, oh, we should have won it short-sighted or whatever. So I think just maintaining that, a thing that we're learning about each other as we go through our first season, and Kim, our coach, has said this as well, is we're resilient, we're competitive, and we want to stay that way. And I think carrying that through the games, but as well as in training, and making sure we're also having fun as well. That's just super important. And just getting everybody ready for their seasons or whatever's after this, and hopefully we see each other all next summer or before then, if people are staying around the city. So building that community and staying competitive and driven, and not letting Kayla score too many goals in training or anything.
That's the rumor. I hear Kayla has been smashing some in the net. Now we got to put it onto the pitch, right, during the game, right?
Definitely. Hoping. Fingers crossed.
Maybe we'll get a goal of the week out of you this weekend.
Yes.
So, hey, I got to ask, what's it going to take? You kind of touched on it, but what's it going to take for you guys to walk away from this season feeling that it was a successful campaign? Obviously, yes, the growth as an individual is one thing, but as a club, how do you make sure everybody walks away with that feeling that, hey, we did something really good this year?
I have to say, I feel like even if we ended the season tomorrow, we'd still have that feeling. I feel like we, as a team, as a club, we've grown since when we started to now. I know even though we haven't come away with a win every single game, we've grown as a team every single time we step on that field. I know our connections off the field have grown, so that only leads to more connections on the field. We know where each other are going to be on the field. We know our, advantages per each individual. That only leads to a better connection on the field. So I just feel like, these next 4 games are going to hopefully just lead into a positive direction as it's going right now. So.
All right.
Yeah, I think I would just echo that and say, having played college and competitive youth soccer and stuff, I couldn't tell you the record in my season. When I'm in the season, I like really care about it. And Kayla will know after we lose games, I'm like all fired up and I'm like, we gotta play the next game. Like I fully when you're in it. But I think looking back on my past soccer experiences, I know they've been successful when I've made good relationships with people, when I've learned a lot. And that's what we try to take in every training and every game. If we don't get the result we want, we look around and say, what can we learn from this? And try to improve in the next one. And I think that's what we'll try to do in the next 4 games. But in a couple of years, when we look back, it'll be about some of the other stuff,
Jesse, I want to circle back and ask a question for you. Obviously you had this goal, this dream when you started the club for the first season. I'm sure it was, we're going to go out and win trophies, but things have not worked out quite as planned. But what is the overall goal finishing the season? 4 games left, 1-2-2, a record. What is the goal for these young women and for the club going forward after season 1 in the UWS?
I mean, I would have to say from the club perspective, the number one goal is the player experience. And we want, these are like top-notch players like Kayla and Megan. And we want them to feel, that they're going to get the best experience. Now, granted, it's 2021. Today's a perfect example. We have our glitches to deal with. But it's so important to me, and I speak on behalf of Kim and Amy on the coaching staff, that the players feel valued, and this is about them. And number 2, we want the highest. Megan mentioned a while back. I mean, we want the highest quality on the pitch. We want to win. There's just no denying that. I mean, Kim is fiercely competitive. Amy, so I think that's. Well, we'll see what happens. There's a lot more soccer to be played. And it's a short season, so if a few things don't go your way, you can kind of send things one way or the other. But like Megan said, I mean, every game has been very competitive, and I'm just really proud of the players and the coaches, because to just start from scratch during this year and to come out and be really pushing. I mean, some of the clubs that were playing Copa, Rough Riders, they've been in the league since the beginning, and we're right there with them. So. I think we're hitting our goals, and we need to finish and again make sure we finish with quality all the way to the end, and then look to next year.
So Megan was kind of touching on you guys had an interactive moment with the youth side, but I got to ask, Jesse, one of the things you talk about was the youth, right? Your daughter's growing up, you want to give them a platform and opportunity to play, but what is the strategy for the club as it concerns youth development for Brooklyn City's women's first team and even its men's team?
I mean, I think the kind of stating the obvious, but a large part of the strategy is having that full pyramid within the club. So I know it's becoming more and more in vogue in this country, but obviously traditionally in Europe and South America, you have that. You have grassroots, and there's a first team, and it's just one big club that's connected. So that's a huge part of the strategy. Also, having from my experience, having a club that gives. So we're not a girls only club. We're not a female only club. However, we're a club that's inclusive of everybody, but we give the female side the resources that it deserves, which just does not happen in enough clubs. And so that's not so much like exactly a player development issue, but if you want to bring girls up they have to get the best coaches, access to the best fields, playing the best tournaments. So that's a huge part of it for us, and having a women's team that both boys and girls in the club look up to, I thought was a unique approach for us, and it's going so well so far. I mean, Megan mentioned the event last night. We raffled off some UWS jerseys, and one of the kids that won, I think we had a 9 or 10-year-old boy win one of the UWS jerseys, and it's like, we just want that to become normal for them, and I think that's so important. And then, on the men's side, it's really no different. I mean, we have, again, boys and girls can look up to the men's team as well. It doesn't need to be separate. I mean, this is all soccer. It's all football. It doesn't matter.
So I got to ask Megan, Kayla, Jesse talks a lot about helping women and advancing the game. How does this club help in advancing the game of women's soccer? And at the same time, you who are participating in the club?
Like Jesse said, it gives just an opportunity. I feel like female in sports, just especially years ago, just never had that opportunity to grow and advance in the game. And now we just have so many different more platforms where young girls are able to do that. So being able to just be part of this team in UWS, I feel like is just something that is incredible and has shown the growth in women's soccer from here to now. Now, when I was younger, we had the U.S. women's national team players to look up to, and now we have all these different players from all these different leagues, especially the UWS, to just continue that and have these young girls look up to.
Yeah, and I would just say, normalizing, supporting anybody and everybody who wants to play soccer. I mean, like Jesse said at that raffle, like there was no little boy going like, "Oh, I got a women's jersey," like it's just everyone's, excited to support people who love the game that they love. And I think that, normalizing that for kids is huge, because it's going to follow them through their lives, and it's in little and big ways of doing that. I think we have an opportunity to do that by showing up and competing and being part of the community that Jesse and everyone's building. So that's where I see my role.
Jesse, is there, being the founder and the president of the club and really focusing on the quality of person, I think that's one of the things that I've taken away from our conversations is you don't look for the best. You look for the person who has the best quality as an individual, who gives back to the community, but also can hold their own on the pitch. Is there a certain type of quality that you as a staff and as a club are looking for in players? Obviously, you have two awesome examples in Megan and Kayla, but tell us a little bit more about how you're able to get such great talent like you have representing the club today.
So I just want to clarify one. We do want the best players, and I feel like we have a lot of the best players. But you're right. I mean, if you're going to have a community, like everybody has to be on the same page as far as their character. I mean, otherwise it's just not going to work. Otherwise everybody's out for themselves. And I have to give credit, honestly, to it starts on the as far as bringing in players with that quality. That starts with Kim and Amy on the coaching staff, because they are top-notch quality people, and so they know good character and good quality when they see it. And obviously they both know high quality on the pitch as well. But it really starts with them and them know, and they both have so much experience, both playing and coaching, that they've been around so many players. They know like the real people, the people who are going to be in it for the long haul, and versus people who aren't. So I have to give credit to them on the first team side. And it's something, to your last question, that we talk about on youth development, even for the younger kids, is like identifying those characteristics, because those are the ones, they may not be the best player at 9 or 10, but if they have that character, they're going to eventually, that's what's going to separate them when you get to the elite level. Yeah, I think that's kind of a comprehensive look at that side of things.
So this year has been extremely difficult. It's been difficult for individuals. It's been difficult for organizations, for clubs throughout sport, around the world. What have you taken away from this experience that has helped you better yourself for the most part on or off the pitch?
I can go first. I think COVID has really just demanded us to I don't know, have some reflection about what it is that's important to us. I think soccer, and it ties in with soccer, we weren't playing for a while. Everyone's sitting at home working or not working or trying to figure out what to do in this time. And I think a big positive is just a reminder of how important soccer is in my life. And being part of this team is an outcome of that. So is other things like coaching and just trying to be more, have a more, what's the word? Just like dynamic approach to life, as opposed, I don't know, I feel like the first 6 months of COVID, I was just working at home and not doing anything else, and trying a positive that came out of that is making sure that I had a well-balanced day-to-day, and that fully translates to being a part of this team and, and being involved in soccer in other ways.
I have to go off Megan. I mean, that past year has made you really reflect on the things when they're taken away, what you really truly miss, and not being able to play the game you love and you've grown up playing for years on end definitely was challenging. And, trying to keep that commitment up throughout COVID, either practicing on your own and whatnot. And then having that, I mean, for me personally, having my college season, ripped away, and you were training for that and looking forward to that all the way through. I really feel like now with the addition of me playing for Brooklyn, it just kind of, encaptures everything. And it made me really prepare for this upcoming season. And being part of a team, being able to train with high caliber girls is just like an honor to do that. So I'm really excited.
And Jesse, on the side of the club, what has the club been able to do? Obviously, it wasn't, this wasn't expected, the delays and everything else. But as a founder, as a president, what have you learned about not just yourself, but the club that is going to help it grow as the future continues for Brooklyn City FC men and women?
I think through COVID, it as Megan and Kayla touched on, it kind of reemphasized what the game can mean to people. At going into COVID, we only had the UWS team hadn't started yet, so it was more with the youth and the men's side. But I think as we're slowly allowed to literally, go outside and go into parks, kick a ball, it really emphasized to me what the power that the game has to build a community. So it's on the pitch as a community of 11 people who have to be on the same page, but once people started coming out, like there was so much joy for people to just like see each other again, to exercise. I mean, it's making, we're on the as adults, we're working, we're just stuck in front of the computer, but like the poor kids were just did not exercise for like 6 months. It's just insane. So I think that really, it just reminded us of everything that we've been taking for granted. And then I will say, just to bring it back to UWS, it just made us so thankful. Like when we actually got the team together and on the field, even in the winter, it wasn't a foregone conclusion that everything was going to happen. We wanted it to, but we weren't sure. So, and we're still working our way out of it. We still have, facility issues that are related to COVID. We can't have fans in at least one of the places that we play. So it's still not quite back to normal, but yeah, we're getting there, and I think it's just made us appreciate everything.
Well, listen, we got 4 games left, and in that 4 games, a lot can change. It's a very hard conference, and I've learned that this might be the most stacked conference in the league, and that there's a good amount of teams who it just takes a win, right? But in the end, what should fans continue to be excited for and about as they look forward to the upcoming matches? Again, 4 matches left for Brooklyn City FC. What should fans be excited for?
I think they should just be excited for the competitive nature. I know we came back from 2 losses this weekend, and we're ready to get redemption on those. So definitely just be on the lookout, because I know I'm amped up. I know Megan's definitely amped up. And, the rest of the team, you could definitely see that translated in training this week. So I would just say, just be on the lookout, because we're ready.
Yeah, I mean, anybody that's watched our games knows that we're gonna fight till the very last minute, and so just we want to get some of those results that we thought we could have got earlier in the season, and I think we can, and so we're hungry for a win. We're gonna go out there on Saturday and try to get one.
Yeah, Avatar, is it Aviator SC, Saturday at 1:30 Eastern should be a good matchup against Scorpions SC. It's just a matter of putting points on the board at this moment, right? Not leaving 2 points on the field, but taking all 3 back with you to the locker room. So hopefully you guys feel that. Kayla, do you think there's is there any prediction on what we should expect this weekend as it relates to what you got going
on? Let's just say let's hope we come out with a win. That's the biggest thing. I know we're ready. So I predict that we come out on top. That's my prediction. Hopefully.
Ask that you don't waste all your goals at training today. Okay, I know you have training tonight. Let's not put all the balls in the back of the net. Let's save some of those for Saturday as you guys get out against Scorpions SC again. Aviator SC. 1:30 kickoff Saturday. But I have to ask before we get into the hard questions, the ones that make you sweat a little bit. What does community mean to each of you three?
Well, for me personally, when we start off, like communities, I feel like creates any basis of a organization, a team, anything. If you have a good community, that's just the foundation of success. I feel like, especially with Brooklyn City FC, from the beginning, the community and the culture that was created was amazing. Seeing the youth players right from the top to, our UWS players, it's been amazing. I know me being one of the younger players on the team and being able to play with older players that have graduated and from different backgrounds, different experiences, and seeing us all be able to mesh together, that's just something amazing. And having fans and friends and family that are able to support us throughout this journey is very humbling, very good to see. And I'm just excited to see what is going in store for the future.
I would just say, I think everything Kayla said. Community is about being part of something bigger than yourself, and knowing that you're all looking to achieve something. Maybe everyone has different individual goals within that. On our team, everyone's in a different place, but we're all trying to compete. We're all trying to grow and recognizing that we all have a role to play in that. And I think that extends beyond, as you said earlier, Jonathan, the 11 players on the field. Just being a part of something. And I think especially after COVID, that just means so much more, like just being a part of something, and something that we all love. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, I think Kayla and Megan, I don't really have much else to add because they completely nailed it. The only other thing I would mention is just, again, because of where we are in Brooklyn, it's so diverse and there's people with such different backgrounds as it relates to football, as a lot of people refer to it here, or soccer. I think the community is like using just how we're able to use that to bring everybody together and have something positive to focus on. And whether it's on the pitch or just within the club or other events we're doing, but I think just pulling together, really representing all the people that we're about here is for me personally is huge.
All right, well, that brings us to the hard part of the show. So normally what happens is my producer Joe, he'll be in the background, but today he's a teacher, so it's summertime, so he's out probably wakeboarding or doing something fun, maybe hiking, who knows. Joe, I hope you're having fun. I know you're watching whatever you're doing right now, but he sets up some questions for you guys. So here we go. His first question is this is his favorite question to ask, by the way, is what is your favorite boot?
I'll go. I'm a Copa girl through and through. I've worn Copas pretty much not forever, but for a good long time. And anybody that asks me for cleat recommendations, I don't even care what their preferences are. I say Copas. 100%. Turfs, cleats, whatever you want, Copas.
And I'm the opposite. I'm a Nike girl. So I'm usually the one with the flashy cleats. I have to be the one that is most outrageous. I pick the craziest colors, so I'm the opposite of that one.
Okay, what's the boot right now? What are you sporting?
I go back and forth, but I always stick with Nike. I think I like I don't even know how to pronounce it, like the Mercurial or whatever that brand is. Yeah.
All right. Jesse, when you back in your heyday, when you laced them up and you still do lace them up. Let's be honest about that. What is the go-to boot? What is the go-to boot that you have?
Yeah, I was gonna say Timberland, but no, just kidding. Yes, it's true. I am a little bit older. I have a little bit different generation, but Copas for sure.
Yes.
I mean, just the classic, the black, the leather, even now, if we kick around, Sambas is pretty much a go-to, especially if we're playing on turf or indoor. So
the white Sambas or the black Sambas? I'm a white Samba guy.
I'm not that confident with the white. It's like black. Yeah.
Fair enough. Megan, Kayla, are you the first to training or are you the last one out of the door after training?
I'm the first to training.
I'm the last one out the door at training.
Jesse, what about you? Are you both?
Yeah, I think you could say that. The first to first to set up, the last to leave. But it's all good. That's what we signed up for.
All right, Kayla, Megan, least favorite soccer-related run test?
Beep test. The beep yo-yo test.
His favorite soccer. I haven't had to do a fitness test in a while. I think the beep test. I think it's notoriously terrible.
The worst was, so Jesse, I know you could probably relate to this one. The walk jog sprint, and you had to beat the two people in front of you on the sprint. I think that was the worst for me, was the walk jog sprint, because I hated walking, but I hated sprinting. I'm a midfielder, so I just like to keep moving. So it was bad. It was bad. What about you, Jesse? What was your favorite?
I mean, yeah, anything. Well, at this point, anything involving running in general is try to stay away from. But yeah, some of the interval training was tough. You know, I remember I was younger. I did a little track and field too, and it's just brutal. You know, 'cause it's 100 on, 100 off, 200 on. It's just, yeah.
I don't know who's running the men's side, but they are absolutely on point with this Tabata. Tabata, let's get rid of it. Thank you, CrossFit. Jeez. So, hey, favorite summer activity off of the pitch? Obviously, New York, there's a lot of opportunity to get out to a coast or to go do something different off the pitch. But what is your favorite soccer activity when not playing soccer?
I'll go. If I'm not playing soccer in the summer, you'll either find me at the beach or hiking. So anything outdoors, weather dependent, obviously. But yeah.
No, I'm the same way. Anything on the beach or on the water, that's where you'll see me if I'm not playing soccer.
And Jesse, when you're not running soccer specific stuff, what's your go-to?
Same, definitely. Love nature, hikes. I grew up in Florida, so I kind of like the mountain, that kind of, area. So yeah, a lot of hiking, that type of thing. So yeah.
All right, Megan, Kayla, Jesse, most embarrassing soccer moment?
So many.
You're gonna ask us that on this?
Yeah.
I have one. When I was, I don't know, I must have been like 10 or something. I won some competition to kick a penalty kick at a LA Galaxy game against the mascot, like the Galaxy mascot. And we weren't allowed to wear cleats because they didn't want us to tear up the field. And I walked out there and I went to shoot it and I fell right on my butt in front of the whole stadium. And the ball didn't even get to the goal. It was so embarrassing.
Just trickled along that.
Yeah, he was letting them all go in, and mine he couldn't even pretend went in.
It was so bad he couldn't even kick it in himself. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it was brutal. Yeah.
Kayla,
can you top that?
For me, I have so many that I don't have one specific one, but I feel like the ones that always get me is the trip over the shoelace and you wipe out with no one around you. I've done that multiple times.
Ghost hole. Yeah, you found the ghost hole and it just randomly took your boot. I like it. All right.
Oh yeah, or the missed kick where you lay up when you're wiped out on your back. So those I've done multiple times. So.
Jesse?
That's great. I would have to tap into my soccer dad moments for this one. And you could ask my wife, and depending on how much time you have, you can get a long list. But one that stands out was we were at a Red Bulls game when I think my kids were 5 and 6. They were playing at Giant Stadium, I want to say. And we were at one of those, one of the pregame promotional areas, and we're kind of kicking the ball around with a few other adults, and I tried to get cute and chip it over the head of my 5-year-old, and just nailed it right in the face. Just didn't get the lift. I think the copas were, maybe I wasn't wearing copas that day, but yeah, right. That, oh my God, just never heard the end of it.
No broken nose, right? It's not there
was no blood, so it's
right.
No harm, no foul.
Yeah, ball doesn't lie. If there's no blood, it didn't hurt, right?
No, it didn't happen.
All right, his last question. This is kind of a weird one, but I totally understand it. Are you a person who likes your water plain or with ice?
I feel like either one, but I prefer like cold water, so I would have to go with ice.
I prefer cold water, but I chew ice and it's so annoying to everybody. So I think plain cold water.
I've kind of switched. I was definitely, I think at their age, a cold water, cold drink person, but now I'm a little more like, get a little more tepid, you know, in the colder months. Definitely some nice warm or hot water is good. So
awesome. Well, hey, Jesse, Kayla, Megan, thank you so much for taking the time today to join me. I really appreciate the opportunity to kind of talk with you guys and learn more about the club. I know you guys have training today, so I wish you the best of luck at training today. And again, this Saturday, you know, you guys hopefully against Scorpions are able to pull off a win. Again, Aviator SC or Soccer Club or Sports Center.
Sports Complex. Yeah.
Sports Complex, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you're out there to check them out and support your Brooklyn City FC women as they try to make their way back up the rankings and vie for one of those, you know, one of those playoff spots that everybody's looking for.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thanks for joining me. Appreciate you
so much, John.
All right. Thank you so much to everybody who has joined us today for the UWS kickoff show. You can follow all things UWS and UWS2 on their social media pages and send your questions for future shows as well. This Saturday, 6 a.m. for the UWS kickoff show powered by Rain Total Body Fuel, we'll be highlighting a match between Louisiana FC and the Atlanta Panthers. Excited to talk a little Southeast Conference soccer, which should be a really good matchup. Again, Louisiana and Atlanta will be joining Katie, Megan, Danny, and myself this weekend. No Steven, as he is on another job. But join us again 6 a.m. Pacific time. We'll get you primed for match week 7 of the UWS. So until then, everybody, have a great rest of the week. Enjoy the weather that you have, except for if you're in my area where it's 109 today. But for the most part, we'll see everybody Saturday morning, 6 a.m. for the kickoff show. Cheers, everyone.